Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you're doing good. Welcome back to the channel. So let's start with the first news here. Center wants Supreme Court to get tough with Facebook and YouTube. Okay, now Center wants curbing of perverse graphic videos on Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube in less than 10 hours, which is currently 36 hours. Okay, now Center wants these service providers to hire third-party agencies to expedite this very process to spot and remove sexually violent content. Okay, now Center has also asked the service providers to identify the origin of such content. Okay, now but however, the WhatsApp has replied that it can't comply with the government demand as it would undermine the privacy of the users. Okay, next one. ESCOMs to reach for the sun to fulfill new RPOs. Now, the Karnataka Electricity Regulatory Commission proposes solar renewable purchase obligation of 10.5% by 2021-22 for all ESCOMs, that is, electricity supply companies. Now, this is in line with the long-term growth trajectory of Ministry of Power. All right. Now, what is this renewable purchase obligation? What is this RPO? Now, RPO refers to the obligation imposed by law to have a share of electricity produced through renewable sources. Now, in this case, now it has proposed a solar RPO of 10.5%. That means out of the 100% electricity produced, it wants the 10.5% of that electricity to be produced through solar energy. All right. Now, this would lead to better utilization of renewable sources, like solar, wind, etc., than non-renewable sources like coal, nuclear, etc. And this would lead to sustainable development. Now, kindly remember this word, this very term, sustainable development. Okay. Now, keep using this phrase in your mains examination or in essay perhaps. Sustainable development means development wherein which is actually supported by sustainable resources like the renewable resources and not the non-renewable resources. Okay, next one. EPFO data not the right gauge of employment level. Now, what is EPFO? Let's learn that first. Now, EPFO stands for Employees Provident Fund Organization and it assists the Central Board of Trustees, which is a statutory body formed under Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Act of 1952. So please remember. And it comes under the Ministry of Labor and Employment. Now, this can be one of the questions in your preliminary examinations. Okay. Now, this provides a compulsory contributory provident fund scheme, pension scheme and insurance scheme for workforce engaged in organized sector, not the unorganized, in the organized sector, that is the people who are working in the registered companies or the government agencies. All right. Now, if you speak to your parents, you would probably get a bit more idea on this, because in their salary slip it would be mentioned, part of it will be deducted towards the provident fund and part of it will be actually contributed by the employers, that is the company owners. Okay, now this is how the EPFO works. Now they say that EPFO is not the right measurement of employment level. Now why do they say that? There are a few reasons why EPFO data can't be the right measurement instrument. Number one, non-clarity when person changes job. When a person changes his job, we don't know whether he would change his account also or whether his account would remain still the same. That is not clear yet. When somebody applies for a new policy when older one is already existing, right? He already has a old policy, old provident fund policy. Okay. Now, if he applies for a new one, that would indicate a new addition to EPFO data. Now, does that really mean that there is a generation of employment here? Not really, right? And low-wage workers avoid getting enrolled for PF, Provident Fund, as their salary, which is already less, further gets deducted. Okay, and also their employees avoid their share of PF. We see this normally, right? Low-wage workers, they don't enroll for PF. And when they don't enroll, does it really mean that they are not employed? Not really, right? So after GST, the EPFO registration increased, but that may not indicate the increase in employment level. Okay, so when GST came in, the EPFO registration increased, but does that really mean that the employment also increased? No, the people who were already employed previously, they just registered now. So that doesn't actually give us the a proper picture about the employment level in the country. Okay, and also if a worker is transferred to a foreign branch, even then it becomes unclear. Okay, so these are some of the reasons here. Next one. Own house for every Indian by 2022 under PM Awas Yojana. Pradhanmantri Awas Yojana, says our Prime Minister. Now, what is this Pradhanmantri Awas Yojana? Well, it's a credit linked subsidy scheme. Okay, and interest subsidy is provided for purchase, construction, extension, and improvement of a house. Okay, now this is provided to customers belonging to economical weaker section, lower income group, and medium income group or middle income group. Now, interest subsidy varies as per the group. Economically weaker section gets the highest interest subsidy. Now, currently the interest subsidy for economically weaker section is 6.5%. Okay, and the tagline for this yojana is housing for all by 2022. India to grow at 7.5% in 2018-19, says Moodys. Okay, now what is this Moodys? Now, Moodys or Moodys Corporation is an American business and financial services company. Okay, now this company or this corporation owns Moody's Investor Service, which is a credit rating agency, and also Moody's Analytics, which is a provider of financial analysis software and services. Okay, now it has predicted that India's GDP will grow at a rate of 7.5% in 2018 and 2019. This is the last news of the day. NCLT may receive new cases worth 7,000 crore. Okay, now what is this NCLT all about? NCLT stands for National Company Law Tribunal. It's a quasi-judicial body set up under Companies Act of 2013, and it adjudicates issues related to companies like debt recovery, insolvency resolution process, and liquidation of corporate debtors. Okay, now it also gets its power from Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of 2016. So please remember this. Now, appeal against the orders of NCLT can be filed with National Company Law Appellate Tribunal or NCLAT. And if somebody wants to, appeal against the very orders of NCLAT, he can knock the doors of Supreme Court. Okay. So that is it for the day, guys. I hope you had a very good educative session. You enjoyed today's session. And a heads up here, a small suggestion from my end. Try to keep the sources of study as minimal as possible. One or two at maximum, not more than that. And please focus more on revisions or repetitions. Okay, so these videos which we are coming up with every day, these are very shorter videos, 9 or 10 minutes in length, okay, which you can perhaps revise at any point of time, maybe during your lunch breaks, dinner breaks, or between your classes, or perhaps even in traveling also. Okay, so keep visiting these videos, revise the concepts, and if you have any doubts regarding the concepts, leave that in the comment section so that we can come up with a separate or an exclusive video of that. Okay, so revise as many times as possible, and keep your sources to the minimum is what I want to say. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.